My cousin ended up passing away in June of 2009, 3 months before we were even being considered for the Cancer Center. When we won the award in October of 2009, again, it was a personal family mission to provide something here in Hawaii, something that we deserve for good research paired with good medicine. And then little did I know that 3 months after we were awarded the job, that I would be diagnosed with cancer myself, stage 3 soft tissue spindle cell sarcoma. So we were in the middle of design, and that hit me like a ton of bricks. It became very personal, like no other job could possibly be.
The Cancer Center has just been so marvelous, sharing their facilities, inviting us to participate in different forums that come along, commenting on our experiences both as cancer patients and as it relates therefore to Hula in our instance, but also to the cancer in its entirety. In my particular case, Hula benefited me health-wise and therefore emotionally in 2 specific areas. As a breast cancer patient, I went through many of the struggles that people in my position do, and the changes were very subtle. After a year or so, it was just so clear to me that my mental acuity was just barging ahead, and I didn't realize it had gotten soft through the experience. The second time around, I had a bad fall, and I was in a brace, as often happens, and I came back to Hula sort of piece by piece, and again the body responded, the mental clarity was there, it was absolutely fantastic. Plus the stimulation of enjoying the fabulous music selections and the choreography of this particular Kumuhula. Te Moana Makolo is just fantastic, especially with traditional dances, which those of us who are born and raised here especially like and love. So thank you, mahalo.
At the end of the Hula Study program, I found with some of the ladies that it really helped them in many ways. A couple of the ladies told me that they were even suicidal, which I was stunned, but Hula helped them to come out of that, and they became happier, happy with their life and just with things in general. In August of 2017, I found that I had stage 4 bone cancer and really bad arthritis on top of that. But hula again helps me physically as well, even though I can't really stand up and hula like I used to, and I can't really walk on my own like I used to. I can still teach the ladies, and it's fun. I enjoy seeing them and coming to hula and knowing that I'm doing something constructive and I'm doing something to help them with their health issues as well.
I did a stem cell transplant here at Queens Hospital. We did it on April 21st, 1999. I was very fortunate I did it here because with all blood cancers, your treatment is done in the mainland. Back then, I had a son who was totally dependent on care. So, you know, when I got diagnosed, I just didn't know what was going to happen, who was going to take care of him. But when Dr. Sumida offered me this clinical trial, and I said, sure. So I'm glad I met the criteria for that.
I joined the Friends of the University of Hawaii Cancer Center board to be able to continue to support and carry on the legacy that I believe my sister Alana started many years ago when she passed away from leukemia. Unfortunately, when she needed treatment, the University of Hawaii Cancer Center didn't exist, so we had to travel to the mainland for her treatment and her care. It's a privilege for the Friends to continue to support the amazing work that goes on here, whether it's the researchers, the fellowships, the grants, all the way through to the early phase clinical research center that's being built and developed. We're very excited to see how that impacts the people of Hawaii and be able to continue to support our local communities here at home.
I believe I am an original member of the first cohort of island residents that completed the 26-page questionnaire about dietary habits, lifestyle, and medical history. Over the years, I have continued to fill out follow-up questionnaires from MEC, donate money and urine samples, participated in smaller studies focusing on memory skills, and I've even done brain scans. I will do this until the day I pass, as long as MEC exists, because I believe in this study. Recently, I spent some time reading some of the conclusions drawn from this work, and I am more convinced than ever that every second of my time dedicated to this task will result in knowledge that will save lives and speed up the understanding and focus in finding the best approaches for battling each cancer and ultimately a cure.
E na hoa maka maka mai, Hawaii nui o ke awia hiki ni I hau ka hele lani, na ka maaina, na malihini, aloha. Mai kai, and for those of you that do not speak Olelo Hawaii, hi. My name is Billy V, and it is my pleasure to be your MC for today's hybrid event that will be held in person, and of course for those of you watching right now on Zoom. Welcome to the 50th anniversary celebration of the University of Hawaii Cancer Center and 25 continuous years of designation as a National Cancer Institute designated cancer center. Thank you very much for joining us today for today's event, recognizing the UH Cancer Center's historic point in time of 50 years of research accomplishments. Now, we had hoped that the COVID pandemic would be in our past by now and that we'd be able to have a large in-person celebration. However, you can't always get what you wish for in situations that you cannot control or that are not under your control. Therefore, we are so happy to have you all here as participants in our celebration this morning in our beautiful Aloha State. And for those of you that are here in the UH Cancer Center, good morning and aloha. Just a real quick COVID note for you that we are socially distanced here in the room as far as the people that are here, but also myself more than 6 feet apart, obviously. And we are wiping the microphone down after every speaker. So that means that they have told me that I do not have to have my mask on as long as I'm up here. And with each speaker that comes up here, they also have the choice of removing their mask and speaking to you as well. Those of you who were here, who were present before the start of this morning's program, you were able to view a video collage of testimonies from individuals who have supported or participated in the studies and clinical trials through the UH Cancer Center and of photos from years past to present. If you missed any of those, you'll have another opportunity to view them after the conclusion of this program, so please do not leave for those of you that are in the webinar. We have gathered today to observe the auspicious milestones in the UH Cancer Center's 50 years of progress in cancer research, education, community outreach, and 25 years of continuous NCI designation. It is my pleasure from the island of Oahu to introduce the gentleman who will do the pule, or the blessing, pule ho'omai ka'i. Please welcome Kahu Aaron Mahi.
Aloha mai kākou. E nā ki aina ko kākou aupuni o Hawaii, no ko mākou Hawaii nei no ho I mahalo nui, no ko hiki ana mai no ke kakahiaka. O nā poe, la poe o apau, I nā ko kuli ana, I nā ho'alaka I ana, no ko mākou mea I hanaei, no ko mākou Hawaii apau. I say aloha to all of you, and especially our governor who is here this morning, and all those who have had an integral part of our University of Hawaii, taking on the leadership of the center, of the university, seeing you, David, over there, and many others with our Queen's Hospital and so forth, and all the various institutions. How wonderful it is that we can come together And in this moment, lift up our hearts, our joy for the wonderful work that has transpired over these past 50 years. And with that in mind, we lift our aloha and our praise to the Creator who has brought us together and has allowed us this opportunity to see to the health needs of our people. And I mean our people as a whole. Na poe a pau o Hawaii nei. And with that in mind, let us all bow in prayer. E puli kako. Our Heavenly Father, we come together this morning to think of the wonderful blessings we have received. We lift our thanks to you and how you have empowered, how you have supported, how you have inspired so many to come forward and this day celebrate 50 years of bringing to our people of Hawaii, our students, our opiopio, our young people, and then the wonderful years of research and study to see to the health needs of our people. Health indeed, Heavenly Father, is given to you, to all of us. But we are, Heavenly Father, gifted by your Spirit to constantly search and learn of the ways in which we can best attain the various methods of teaching and learning and understanding what your creation is all about. We thank you for this opportunity that you gave us. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for the hands that have come together in support of this institution that celebrates the 50 years. And the new things that are about to take place here, Heavenly Father, how wonderful that frontier is which you are opening to us. And so at this moment, Heavenly Father, we ask your presence to continue with us as we celebrate today. Lift the names, lift the organizations, and lift the purpose and mission of our University of Hawaii, which has been centered in the curing and the research of cancer. How wonderful that is. And we praise you and we glorify you as we see to the needs of our people of Hawaii. No laila e ke kua manaloa me kau keiki hiwa me ka uhane molele au makua me ne kini akua. No ko kako puna o hala ia ke kua no hopu me o e kalani mahalo nui no na me apau. Mahalo nui no na alakai no na poe. I ka hoa alakai hala mako, maloko nei no ka mako au puni o Hawaii. Mahalo nui ke akua. No ka akamai, e ho e mai ai a mako. Mahalo nui, no ka imi ana I ka na awau. No ka na awau no na poe I hanai. Ma ka olakino o e hoi. No ko kako mapopo ana. Mapopo pono ana hoi. I ka mai. O ka awale ana nei. Mahalo nui ke akua. No na me apau. No laila. No ke ho ano I a mako. I na mau makahiki. Ka na lima. E olo ke akua. I hiki mai a oi. Nui ka mahalo mako ia oi. Nui ka mahalo no ko po mai kai. A me ka lo mai kai. Ka iha mai a mako I ka apau. no laila. Ilo kai no me kau kei ki hiba hiba me ka ohane male amako me nikini ko pau. Ka ko kupuna. Me ka ko no eo ya a lako. I haba I hami no ni a maula apau. Amene. Amene. Amene.
Mahalo kahu Aaron Mahi. And before we get started with our program, I want to say mahalo to Laura because you'll probably see her online more than anybody else because she'll be the one wiping the microphone, so she'll be up here quite often. And also before we get started, we'd like to introduce to you a group of ladies who have come together from different walks of life, but they all have one thing in common. They were fighting cancer and they continue that fight. But this is hula, and this is part of our islands. So let us present to you right now, doing the song, Keep Your Eyes on the Hands, Wahine Hula Akala.
Whenever you're watching a hula girl dance, you gotta be careful, you're tempting romance. Now keep your eyes on the hips, the naughty hula hips. Keep your eyes on the hips. Remember she's telling a story too. Her hoop is swaying, but don't watch the view. Concentrate on the swing, it doesn't mean a thing. Keep your eyes on the hand. And when she goes around the aisle, swinging hips and tantalizing, keep your eye where they belong. And when her breath goes to swishing in your head and don't go wishing that you would like to mow the lawn. You're deceiving but fooling no one. There's conceding we're having some fun. If you're too young to think or over 90, what do you do? Keep your eyes on the head. You're watching a hula girl dance. Better be careful, you're tempting romance. Keep your eyes on the hips, the naughty hula hips. Keep your eyes on the head. Remember she's telling a story to you. Her rope is swaying, but don't watch the view. Concentrate on the swing, it doesn't mean a thing. Keep your eyes on the head. When she goes around the aisle and swinging hips and tantalizing, keep your eye where they belong. And when her breath goes swishing, keep your head and don't go wishing that you would like to mow the lawn. Your eyes are moving but fooling no one. Ways of seeing we're having some fun. If you're too young to date or you're over 98, keep your eyes on the head, we tell the story. Come, keep your eyes on the head.
Thank you to the Pink Ladies for putting a happy and lively spin to the beginning of our program this morning. Those ladies are members of a group of cancer survivors. They took part in a pilot study to determine the health benefits of post-treatment exercise through hula, the dance of our islands. An unexpectedly overwhelming response or outcome of the study was the establishment of a strong bond and psychosocial network of supporting each other, which is indicative of hula. The pilot study concluded many years ago, but the glue between the ladies and their kumu survived even the pandemic and remains stronger than ever. One more time, a nice round of applause for the Pink Ladies of Hula, Wahine Hula Akala. And one final note before we get started, on behalf of myself, who is a cancer survivor, to all of you watching and to all of you here in this room, thank you for all the work that you continue to do for those past, present, and future who are battling cancer. Please introduce the 15th president of the University of Hawaii at Manoa, strong supporter of the UH Cancer Center, Dr. David Lassner.
Mahalo, everybody. Kahu, Billy, Governor, Senator, representatives, everybody. It's a humbling honor, privilege, and privilege to be president of the University of Hawaii on a day like today, when we get to celebrate the 50th anniversary of one of our great organized research units. I know that others will recount the history, and there are materials available that describe how we got from where we were 50 years ago until today. So I really just want to take this opportunity to give thanks to some of the people with us and not with us who are really responsible for where we are, which is amazing. If anyone had thought this was going to be here even 20 years ago, it was a dream at that point. And I apologize if I miss anybody. My history is only about 43 years with UH, so I don't quite have the full 50. The UH Regents, who recognize the importance of a cancer center in Hawaii, beginning with their formal role really in 1981, when they extracted the cancer center from the Pacific Biomedical Research Center, which nurtured and incubated it for the first 10 years. And it was in 1981 when the Cancer Center became a freestanding ORU. Governors have been critical partners in getting us to where we are today. In my memory, Governor Cayetano really embraced the vision of a health campus here in Kaka'ako, which again, nobody could have imagined we'd have these two amazing facilities, the John A. Burns School of Medicine and the UH Cancer Center, right here among the most beautiful anywhere in the world. Governor Lingle supported the building and the funding approach for this spectacular facility. And Governor Ige, thank you, David. He answered my personal plea for financial assistance on my watch when the center was really out of balance in terms of expenditures and revenues. And the governor stepped up and said he was not going to let the cancer center fail. It was too important to Hawaii. None of this would have been possible without key legislators. So I'm glad we have our friends, Representative Takayama and Senator Moriwaki with us today. I also want to acknowledge Senator Roz Baker, who I think will be sharing remarks, who has been a stalwart supporter of this center since before it existed. And I also want to remember Senator Breen Harimoto, who's no longer with us, passed away from cancer. And he really championed the state matching funds for the early phase clinical research center that we will look at later this morning. This was a vision embraced by legislators who could see the importance of the Cancer Center and the early phase clinical trials program to the health of the people of Hawaii and the Pacific. And I can't say enough about how important those early phase clinical trials will be to people who cannot afford to travel to the mainland for novel treatments and who would frankly be lost without the ability to be treated in the warmth of their ohana. A unique characteristic of our cancer center is our Hawaii Cancer Consortium. This was a novel idea. It brings together the entire Hawaii healthcare community with the university, both the Cancer Center and the medical school. We work together with our partners on literally a daily basis to improve care for patients, cancer patients in Hawaii. Our partners provide advice, guidance, and financial support to us. So mahalo, Jill, for representing all of our Cancer Consortium partners here today. Check out the wall outside this room and you will see what our donors have been able to do for us. They support our research, they support our faculty. None of what we accomplish could take place without their support. And I say that as we stand here in the Sullivan Center and looking back through the history, Sullivans have been part of the Cancer Center since the very, very beginning. So mahalo to all who have helped us. UH presidents, starting with Harlan Cleveland, who was president 50 years ago when the center was established within PBRC, the Pacific Biomedical Research Center. But while I wasn't close to all of them, I'd wager that every president has faced challenges with the Cancer Center at some time during their tenure as president. I've been no exception, and I think every one of us has had to make hard choices, sometimes unpopular choices, to really keep this center thriving in service to the people of Hawaii and the Pacific. But let me acknowledge especially David McLean, who presided over UH and made some tough decisions about exactly where and how to build this, again, spectacular facility. None of this would be possible without the faculty and leadership of the Cancer Center over these 5 decades. They are the heart, the soul, and the mind of everything that goes on here. They drive our research, they drive our mentorship of students, and they drive our community engagement. I just want to share one story. I know it's touched on in the brochure, but it was around 1980. A biochemist from the Cancer Center, a woman, was doing community outreach on Hawaii Island. She visited Hilo High and talked about her work there. And she inspired a sophomore at Hilo High to commit to a career in biochemistry. And just 40 years later, last year, that Hilo High student, Jennifer Doudna, won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for her work co-developing CRISPR-Cas9, the gene editing technology that is literally changing everything about our understanding of and our ability to advance the genome, human, plant, and otherwise. So let me close by acknowledging our faculty and our leadership, again, for 5 decades of committed and groundbreaking work to serve really humanity. I won't attempt the original in Italian, apologies Michele if you're watching, but as John Kennedy interpreted it, and I'll take a bit of gender liberty here, victory has 100 parents and defeat is an orphan. So today, let's celebrate all of the parents of this amazing, amazing UH Cancer Center and thank them for all that we were able to do in the past and even more so for all we'll be able to do in the future. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lassner, for your commitment to the UH Cancer Center. Please welcome. He is the 8th governor of the state of Hawaii and the 4th native-born governor of Hawaii. Please welcome the Honorable Governor David Ige.
Aloha and good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you and the University of Hawaii Cancer Center as it commemorates 2 significant milestones. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the University of Hawaii Cancer Center's founding, as well as the 25 years of continued National Cancer Institute designation. I'm really honored to be part of today's celebration. As David had said, I've been a public servant and involved in the Cancer Center for 35 years of that 50, as in various capacities throughout my public service career, as chair of the House Higher Education Committee, moving to the Senate Higher Education Committee, Senate Health Committee, Senate Ways and Means Committee, and a whole bunch more. And for all of my more than 3 decades of involvement, the Cancer Center and its importance never left me. There truly is no place else on the planet that we can conduct the research that we do here at the Cancer Center. The designation by NCI places the UH Cancer Center as amongst some of the best centers in the nation for its research focused on developing new approaches to preventing, diagnosing, and treating cancer. In Hawaii, cancer is the second leading cause of death behind heart disease. Approximately 7,000 Hawaii residents are diagnosed with cancer each and every year. And currently, there are more than 62,000 residents living with cancer. Treating and caring for cancer patients requires care coordination, which can be complex and challenging. And that's why it's so important that as one of 71 recognized institutes in the country and the only National Cancer Center Institute in Hawaii and across the entire Pacific, the University of Hawaii Cancer Center continues to provide unique opportunities for research, education, patient care, and community outreach. And as Dr. Lassner had mentioned, there is no other cancer center who truly is at the heart of our healthcare system, as each and every partner is part of what is so important here at the University of Hawaii Cancer Center. Since its inception, the center has been home to more than 140 research projects, published more than 250 papers in peer-reviewed journals, and has brought in millions and millions of dollars in total grant funds. In addition to its scientific research, the center is recognized for its applied research and service to community. The UH Cancer Center has a history of engaging and working closely with our community health partners to identify and address cancer-related concerns in our community. And I know, as someone born and raised in Hawaii, that there were students doing research in partnership with the Cancer Center when I was a high school student, and certainly continued on to the entire 50 years of its existence. The UH Cancer Center has a history of engaging and working closely with all of the partners in our community. With more than 75 global collaborators, the center is working hard to address overall health disparities amongst vulnerable and indigenous communities. Hawaii is one of the most ethnically diverse locations on the planet, and the research and work being done here to improve diagnosis and treatments for our local populations, including Native Hawaiians, Asian Americans, and Pacific Islanders, will benefit patients here in Hawaii and around the world. As governor of the state of Hawaii, I am so proud to be here today to celebrate the 50 years of the University of Hawaii's Cancer Center achievements. And most importantly, I look forward to many, many more years moving forward. As we step into the new decade, I know that there will be new technological advances that will help to drive scientific innovation and new discoveries and contribute to new and better ways to prevent and treat cancer. So congratulations to all who came before us, and most importantly, for those who will follow us, for those who will be inspired by the research and leaders here in the Cancer Center today, and those who will be developed in the future. We do know that the University of Hawaii Cancer Center will be part of our future moving forward. Congratulations and mahalo.
Thank you very much, Governor, and mahalo for your strong support of the UH Cancer Center. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, who represents Hawaii's 1st Congressional District, which includes Oahu from Makapu'u through central Honolulu, leeward to Mililani, Waipahu, Ewa, Kapolei, and Ko'olina, and he joins us by Zoom. And we'd like to say good morning and introduce to you the Honorable Ed Case from the House of Representatives.
Good morning. Thank you for the applause. Good morning and aloha to everybody. It's so good to be with you all here today on this incredible occasion. And I just want to extend a special aloha to all of our partners across the country. I saw many of our federal partners in our government that I work with in DC. Thank you for joining today and looking at that list of folks that flashed on the screen as we started out here. And of course, the folks that are on screen with me here today, it's just amazing how many people have built this center over such a long period of time, and each and all of you have put your brick into it, and it's just amazing what you have actually built. I do want to recognize, first of all, Dr. Randy Holcomb for your dedication and commitment over the last 5 years. You really brought the center most recently through a difficult time and put it on track for the future. And so a real mahalo for that. Also in the same breath, a sincere congratulations, of course, to Dr. Joe Ramos for your willingness to take up the mantle of leadership over the next chapters of the center. And I join us all in pledging our ongoing support of your success. Of course, as we celebrate 2 major anniversaries of the center here, it's deeply disappointing that we are continuing in the throes of COVID-19, and we are going to continue to be there for some time to come. The National Cancer Institute's director, Dr. Norman Sharpless, pointed out that the pandemic had profound impacts on cancer research, in his words, quote, disrupting cancer research, shuttering labs and slowing clinical trials. But of course, as we all know, cancer doesn't particularly care about COVID-19. It was here a long time before COVID-19 arrived, and it's going to be here after COVID-19 is brought under control, as we will do. And you know, during that difficult time when we needed to keep the cancer research at the highest level of expertise, at the highest level of focus and commitment across our country at a critical time, really, for cancer research, when we feel so close to breaking through on such once regarded as insurmountable challenges. That research needs to be continued, and you at the University of Hawaii Cancer Center understood that. You understood that the work needed to continue, and you did so. And so I just want to say a special mahalo to all of the ohana at the center for your incredible support and commitment, personal commitment over the last 18 plus months, and what will clearly be expected of you going forward. I do want to know that we in Congress understand that we have our duty as well, but to continue through this difficult time, because even as we faced COVID-19 at the federal level and put forward literally trillions of dollars of emergency assistance to try to stabilize our country and to attack COVID-19 from a public health perspective, from an economic perspective, from a social and community perspective. We also felt the obligation to continue the funding of cancer research across our country, which of course is so critical to maintain that research at the higher levels. I just give you as one example of the work of the Appropriations Committee in the House, which I'm proud to serve on. In the last few weeks, as we put together our federal budget for our fiscal year 2022, which begins in October of this year. Some of the highlights from our appropriations bills that are in the mix in Congress and that I believe will be enacted eventually. $7 billion for the National Cancer Institute, an increase of $432 million from the previous year. This includes $194 million for our Cancer Moonshot initiative to accelerate the development of new cancer detection and treatment. $200 million to fund even more research proposals and to sustain commitments to continuing grants. We put into our bills $3 billion to establish the Advanced Projects Research Agency for Health, ARPA-H, and to support large, high-risk, high-reward research projects to achieve breakthroughs in the treatment of diseases such as cancer. We endorsed the work of the NCI in the development of cancer vaccines through mRNA technology, which of course was key to COVID-19, and encouraged NCI to apply lessons learned from COVID-19 for cancer immunotherapy clinical trials. A couple of other areas of many, 1.3 billion for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, including more than 385 million dedicated to cancer prevention and control efforts. 25 million to establish the Elsie Hastings Cancer Screening Program after our colleague who died of cancer just in the last year. That aims to increase access and address barriers in cancer screening across vulnerable populations. And finally, 562 million for the peer-reviewed cancer research programs executed by the Department of Defense. I'll give you these few examples really to say to you that your federal government, your U.S. Congress understands the work that you and your colleagues across the country are doing in this critical fight that is at such a critical stage. We believe that we need to support that across the board. Of course, this assistance is critical to the center here in Hawaii, has been for some time now. We aim to increase federal funding directly or directly to the center. That, of course, directly supports the center itself. It supports the recruitment, development, and work of world-class scientists that you have at the center, developing that critical mass that then expands into ancillary research and development and economic activities around the center. And finally, besides contributing to the health of so many of our own here in Hawaii, provides for economic diversification for Hawaii. And so please understand that we understand the importance of the federal funding in your ongoing work. So much to do still, and so much to reflect on over the last 50 and 25 years, all of which is really, really exciting to look into the future. The governor spoke of areas where the center can continue to excel. He spoke of ethnic diversity as just one. And yesterday, of course, we saw in the census data for 2020 that Hawaii continues as the most ethnically diverse state in our entire country, which of course we celebrate as part of our unique heritage, but also provides perfect lessons to be learned in ethnic diversity in the battle against cancer, as you are already well underway to doing. And there's so many other niche areas where we can and will excel, not only the ones that we know about today, but the ones that we don't know about today, which all adds up to a very exciting time. So please count on my own personal commitment and support to your next chapters, and I look forward to working with each and all of you. Mahalo.
Thank you, Congressman Case, for making time to participate in today's celebration. Thank you. I have two messages to read here, and the first one comes from United States Senator Brian Schatz. Aloha and congratulations to the University of Hawaii Cancer Center in honor of your 50th anniversary and your 25th anniversary as a National Cancer Institute designated cancer center. In 1971, the UH Cancer Center served as a leader in and advocate for the research and development of treatment for cancer patients and survivors. As the sole NCI designated cancer center in the Pacific, your work not only advances cancer treatments globally, but also makes significant progress in research for Native Hawaiians and communities across the Pacific. Through your training and mentorship programs, you have shown continued support for the doctors and surgeons who make a difference in the lives of our state's cancer patients and survivors. Your decades of hard work and commitment to understanding the effects of cancer continue to have a profound impact on our community and people around the world. Mahalo to the University of Hawaii Cancer Center for your leadership and dedication to care and treatment for cancer patients. Best wishes for a memorable event. Brian Schatz, United States Senator. The other message also comes from Washington, D.C., from United States Senator Mazie Hirono. Aloha and welcome to everyone attending today's event celebrating the achievements and progress of the University of Hawaii Cancer Center. For 50 years, the UH Cancer Center has served as Hawaii's premier cancer research institution and has provided comprehensive research, education, and patient care that takes the unique demographics of Hawaii into consideration. The Cancer Center's contribution to our knowledge of the effects of cancer on Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders populations is incredibly important and has doubtlessly improved the lives of many in Hawaii and across the country. The UH Cancer Center is one of only 71 National Cancer Institute designated cancer centers in the country, and the only designated in Hawaii and the Pacific. The importance of the work being done here cannot be overstated, as the Cancer Center continues to take on vital research and outreach efforts that contribute to the health and well-being of Hawaii residents. Mahalo to the University of Hawaii Cancer Center for your unwavering commitment to the people of Hawaii and your constant pursuit of progress and innovation. My best wishes for an enjoyable celebration and future success. Aloha, Mazie K. Hirono, United States Senator. It's now my pleasure to introduce a video message. This comes from NCI Director, Dr. Ned Sharpless.
Hello, I'm Ned Sharpless. As Director of the National Cancer Institute and a former Cancer Center Director myself, it is my great pleasure to congratulate the University of Hawaii Cancer Center on 50 years of cancer care and cancer research. As we commemorate UHCC on its 50th anniversary, we're also celebrating 50 years of the National Cancer Act of 1971 here at the NCI. That single piece of legislation cemented our nation's commitment to basic research. It enabled the NCI, which is part of the National Institutes of Health and is the federal government's principal cancer research agency, it enabled the NCI to pave the way for life-saving breakthroughs in cancer research. Among the Act's many accomplishments, it established the NCI's Cancer Centers programs. And today, that program includes UHCC, as well as 70 other designated centers across the nation that deliver cutting-edge cancer treatments to patients and communities throughout the United States, and also has the mission of really advancing cancer research for our patients. Each year, 250,000 patients receive their diagnosis of cancer at an NCI-designated cancer center. These centers treat an even larger number of individuals and enroll thousands of patients in clinical trials each year. Since 1991, the annual mortality of cancer has steadily declined. And this is really a testament to the work of the NCI, as well as our cancer centers and other stakeholders, that has led to this real golden age of cancer progress in terms of better diagnosis, treatment, detection, and prevention of cancer. And based on this progress, President Biden has now called on us to end cancer as we know it. And I do think that's possible thanks to this golden age of cancer research. Yet while tremendous progress has been achieved throughout the last few decades, cancer still kills 600,000 Americans a year. There's still much work ahead of us to end cancer's tragedy. To achieve that, we must ensure that cancer research and its breakthroughs reach all patients with cancer. UHCC's mission emphasizes the unique ethnic, cultural, and environmental characteristics of Hawaii and the Pacific. Each of us must emphasize our responsibility to understand the communities we serve, to overcome the persistent disparities that can perpetuate cancer's burden, and even more so in underserved populations. So congratulations to UHCC on its 50th anniversary. I wish you the best in achieving the success that will help us all end cancer as we know it.
Thank you, Dr. Sharpless. We appreciate you helping us to celebrate the important milestone of the UH Cancer Center. Now let's go do a little bit of traveling. From Honolulu, we go over to the island of Maui. Our next speaker represents Senate District 7, which includes South and West Maui. And please welcome Honorable State Senator Rosalyn Baker.
Mahalo. And aloha to everyone. It is definitely an honor and a privilege to be asked to participate in celebrating the 5th anniversary of the University of Hawaii Cancer Center, the only research and teaching institute in the Pacific that holds the coveted National Cancer Institute designation. I want to first acknowledge all of the donors who made the beautiful building that is now Hawaii's Cancer Center possible. I remember not that long ago when the UH Cancer Center was tucked into a tiny space in a building not far from the state capitol and trying to fulfill its mission with limited and old research space and minuscule funding. I want to acknowledge all of the researchers, present and past, their mentors and leaders who helped guide the center to its current NCI designation and continue to do the arduous work to help our community with new discoveries of treatments and pathways to make the words, "you have cancer," less threatening and scary. I want to mahalo Dr. Holcomb for his leadership, and I wish Dr. Ramos well as interim director. You know, the UH Cancer Center, its program and scope of work, research and discovery and translation into the practice of medicine, focusing on oncology, is so important, not just to the residents of Hawaii, but the entire Pacific region, because the success of their endeavors is really important to all of us. And especially, I take great interest in ensuring their success. You see, I come from a family that has many incidences of cancer. My first recollection of the devastation of the words, "you have cancer," was back in the early 50s when my 5-year-old cousin, who could do a mean rendition of "you ain't nothing but a hound dog," was diagnosed with leukemia. There were few, if any, treatments in those days, and we lost him. My dad also has had cancer. He was an educator and a football coach in South Texas in the days before effective sunscreens, and he had quite a high forehead and lots of skin cancer. Unfortunately, he also had colon cancer. There was cancer in other family members, and the big C didn't skip me either. I'm a 40+ year cervical cancer survivor. I'm so thankful that there were research programs in the early 1900s, because it was in 1914 at Cornell University Medical College's Department of Anatomy that a researcher named Dr. George Papanicolaou, known as Dr. Pap, who was pioneering cancer research on cancers affecting women. It appears that apparently his research wasn't deemed all that important by the leaders in his department. Fortunately for me and thousands of others, he persevered, using his wife as a test subject and winning over the other researchers to his technique. Dr. Pap was the scientist who developed the easy test for the detection of cervical cancer. Apparently, since cervical cancer is a woman's cancer, at the time, his test did not receive the acclaim that it should have, because when the Pap smear was first introduced in the 1940s, cervical cancer was the #1 killer of women. The Pap smear now is the standard screening test for all women, and it has greatly reduced the death rate for cervical cancer patients worldwide. So again, mahalo, Dr. Pap. To me, it is the example of Dr. Pap that makes Hawaii's Cancer Center so very important. Cancer can affect Hawaii's rainbow of peoples in many different ways. If we're going to contribute to decreasing the cancer burden for Hawaii's people, then we need researchers here on the ground in Hawaii to tackle those cancers, find new treatments, new cures, and then to train the next cohort of researchers and medical doctors and nurses to work in this field. Cancer is a nasty disease with many shapes and attacking our bodies in many different ways. And cancer in 2021 still takes too many lives. But with continued research here and in collaboration with the network of NCI designated cancer centers, I believe we can beat cancer and save countless numbers of our friends, our family members, and Hawaii residents the pain and suffering that the words, "you have cancer," can convey. Imua UH Cancer Center, mahalo for all of your contributions to decreasing the burden of cancer in Hawaii and in the Pacific region. Imua, Imua, keep up the good work. Mahalo.
And Senator Baker, just from me to you, hey, high five. There you go. Continued health and success to you. Thank you so much for being an advocate and friend of the UH Cancer Center through good and challenging times. Our next speaker is actually here in-house on our side, and I'd like to introduce our next speaker who represents Senate District 12. That includes Waikiki, Ala Moana, Kaka'ako, the area that we're in, Macaulay, and Mo'iliili. Please welcome Honorable State Senator Sharon Y. Moriwaki.
Aloha and congratulations, University of Hawaii Cancer Center. You know, I follow Senator Baker. This is a certificate that we have from the Senate, the House, the Hawaii State Senate, congratulating all of you and for the many years of achievement that we have. I think the UH Cancer Center and the NCI designation as forward-looking research serves not only this community, the Pacific, but the world. As a center for this beautiful Kaka'ako district, and especially the Makai area here, I am especially honored to bring you this certificate and the greetings and the congratulations of the Hawaii State Senate. Your center here, next to the ocean, and the beautiful blue skies, is perfect, perfect. Your significant cutting-edge research and your clinical trials and treatment and nurturing the next generation of researchers and clinicians are just what our Kaka'ako Ohana envisioned. A safe place, welcoming all people, a special place of beauty and healing. I also want to thank you on behalf of those who face this debilitating disease, providing them with hope and help. Like Senator Baker, I saw the terrible impact of the disease on my dad, who tried for years to fight the disease, but succumbed to many years of pain. And our dear colleague, Senator Breen Haramoto. So this Senate certificate that I have to present to you today is a celebration and congratulations of your achievements, many of which we've heard from Dr. Lasner, the governor, and many others. For those from Dr. Casey Lee, and by the way, I worked with Dr. Lee, so I know how enthusiastic and persuasive he was. And to the partners, to the faculty, and the students who have brought us here today and continue to support the research. And research is so, so important. Let us not forget that, you know, it's usually seen as a luxury, but it is a real commodity. It really needs to be supported. And also the service of this center, the applied research, to find the cause, the detection, and the continuation of that quest for the cure. And to those of you who treat, teach, serve, mahalo, and congratulations. As you look out over the ocean, and as you work with patients and families, I know you'll find the cure. But do take pause and enjoy the ocean and the surroundings here, because it should be healing you too. So congratulations and best wishes to the University of Hawaii Cancer Center and for your continuing work in cutting-edge research, community care, and nurturing future researchers and healers. Mahalo, aloha. And this is a certificate.
Actually, you want to turn this way right here? And for those of you on Zoom, they're making the presentation of the certificate now to the interim director of the UH Cancer Center. And thank you, Senator Moriwaki, for presenting the state's certificate recognizing the UH Cancer Center's 50 years of achievements. Please welcome, he was recently reappointed to serve as the chair of the board from the University of Hawaii Board of Regents. Please welcome Chair Randall Moore.
I am honored for the opportunity to address this gathering to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Cancer Center of Hawaii and the 25th anniversary of continuous National Cancer Institute designation. We are at this milestone with the Cancer Center in the strongest position it has ever been in, thanks to the leadership of Director Randy Holcomb and the amazing efforts of the Cancer Center's highly productive researchers and staff. I am pleased to have been a participant since its inception in the multi-ethnic cohort study that the Cancer Center and the University of Southern California began more than a quarter of a century ago. And I am particularly pleased that I am able to continue to provide data for this study. I offer my congratulations to the entire staff of the Cancer Center as it embarks on its second half century, providing key research into the causes and cures for cancer for the benefit of the people of Hawaii, our Pacific Island neighbors, the nation, and the world. Carry on.
Thank you very much to the Chair of University of Hawaii Board of Regents, Randall Moore. The governor touched on this next group of organizations, of people that have come together, talking about the Hawaii Cancer Consortium. They are a coordinated effort in clinical cancer research benefiting the people of Hawaii and the Pacific. Members include the UH Cancer Center in their leadership role, Adventist Health Castle, Hawaii Medical Service Association, Hawaii Pacific Health, Kuakini Medical Center, the Queens Health Systems, the John A. Burns School of Medicine. Please welcome the President and CEO representing the Hawaii Cancer Consortium from the Queens Health Systems, Jill Hoggard Green.
Thank you for all those safety protocols. It is such a privilege to be here this morning. What an inspiring moment to hear the stories of the individuals, the leaders, the community, our governors, our leaders of our university, our presidents, everyone leaning in over the last 50 years to create such a wonderful organization and institution to improve the health and well-being of the people we serve. I am really touched and inspired this morning. I started my career as an oncology nurse over 40 years ago. And at that time, I saw way too much pain and suffering, people that we did not diagnose and treat early enough to get them the relief they needed. And we had too few of tools. The medications we had were just still in, I'll call it, primitive stage. Fast forwarding to this moment, there has been a dramatic transformation in our ability to battle this disease and prevent it. And our cancer center is at the forefront. When I first came here 2 years ago, I heard about the Cancer Center, and so I started studying and looking at our history, the research, and what I've been amazed with, and this is from the depth of my heart, the work that's happening today will be not only a national leader, it will be a world leader. The teams here are going to help us identify ways to stop health disparities, stop health inequities, and create solutions that will actually improve the health of many communities. You've heard multiple times today us talk about the beautiful aloha and the diversity of our state, and we are. So for health providers, we need the very best research. We need the very best partners to help us both anticipate and prevent cancer, detect it early, and to treat it most effectively. And our center here, our University Cancer Center, is really the hub of the researchers and the clinicians and the teams that do that work. I am so appreciative of the leadership of our governor, who has given so many hours to this work, and as you described, multiple decades. Our president, the same, as you described your work over the last 40 years. I'm very privileged to have to work with many of the clinicians and the researchers. And we need to keep our focus on teaching the next generation, investing in this research, particularly the focus on health inequities, because I believe we will find and discover ways to prevent illness in new and unique ways. In addition, all of this is happening because as an amazing state, which I can say because I've lived in 4 others, this is the one place that through this COVID pandemic, as well as before, we have the ability for our leaders to lean in, our health systems to lean in, and our Ohanas, our families to lean in and create a different reality going forward. Our point of time right now has already demonstrated that. The earlier discussion about the CRISPR and our researcher here, you didn't know, but I was having a conversation before the program started today with our wonderful senator that the CRISPR is the reason we're going to be able to do multiple vaccines and get in front of COVID. Who would have guessed that the University Cancer Consortium and Institute was the reason that that researcher had the ability with University of Hawaii's work to move it forward. So we never know how great the work can and how the breadth of the implications in a positive way, the work can happen. So I am so grateful for the early vision and courage of leaders here and all of the researchers and teachers that have gone before. And it is a privilege to commit to the future, that we will continue this and amplify it so that I'm hopeful that my grandkids will be able to say they lived in a decade where cancer was a treatable illness, unlike my family, where most of the generation, most of my grandparents died from this disease. We will see that day. And we'll see that day because of the work here. So thank you to our current leaders. Joe, you're moving this work forward. We so appreciate your collaboration. And on behalf of all the health systems, we want to say mahalo.
Thank you, Dr. Hager Green, for your message. And also, the Cancer Center could not have achieved a success in its mission without your commitment and support since its inception. Thank you so much. I'd like to talk a little bit at this time about the late Dr. Lawrence H. Piet, founding director of the University of Hawaii Cancer Center. His wife was supposed to be joining us and wanted to join us in person. As a matter of fact, she had booked a flight to attend today's event in person, but she, in the last days here, made the decision not to travel at this time due to the COVID uncertainty. So she joins us by video right now. Please welcome the wife of the late Dr. Lawrence Piet, Mrs. Mary Piet.
Good morning. I'm here today to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the University of Hawaii Cancer Center. My husband, Dr. Lawrence H. Piet, was the first director of the first small cancer center here in Hawaii. Surely, with COVID-19 upon us, we can understand the importance of Dr. Richard K.C. Lee's first NCI grant in 1971. It is exciting to recall and remember Dr. Frederick Greenwood and Larry, both involved in cancer studies, soon were aware of the number of research activities at the University of Hawaii and in the community. They recognized a need for coordination and collaboration. The center they proposed should act as a focal point. Then the Board of Regents approved the establishment of the Cancer Research Laboratory on the university campus. There followed then President Harlan Cleveland's proposal and establishment of an advisory council made up of leaders in cancer studies and leaders in the community, which included Maurice Sullivan. He insisted or stressed the need for total community involvement. It's also exciting to read or remember Governor Burns' inaugural address, in which he suggested that Hawaii should expand from its agricultural and tourist economy to become also a center of international research, especially in the Pacific. Nationally, President Nixon declared a war on cancer, and funds were created. There followed many trips to Washington, D.C. Grants and funds were sought and won. Senator Daniel Inouye led a strong fight, and I quote, he said, "I can assure you that the people of Hawaii need an aggressive and visible cancer center." Multiple trips to Washington, D.C., often in the winter, which incidentally meant the purchase of a good winter coat. That was expensive. Let's celebrate these 50 years. This little island in the Pacific is not so little. The UH Cancer will continue to discover, to educate, and to contribute. Hooray for us.
Thank you, Mrs. Piet, and thank you for your husband, Lawrence, as well. Usually this is an introduction that I usually reserve for the governor or Dr. Lassner sometimes when we've gone to events, but I think I'll use it in this time and place. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the interim director of the University of Hawaii Cancer Center, researcher, professor in the cancer biology program. Please welcome Dr. Joe Ramos.
I've never had a welcome like that. Aloha. The word that keeps coming to mind for me is that how humbling this is for me to be the person standing in front of you at this moment. It's very humbling to serve our faculty and staff as the interim director, but more humbling still to recognize that I'm the only faculty or staff person speaking today. So I feel that I'm representing us all. And in representing all of our faculty and staff, I want to take a moment to make sure that you understand that we very much appreciate the partnerships. The theme today has been partnerships. Cancer Center isn't doing all of this alone. We're working with all of the various partners represented by those of you who've joined in with us today. And as a member of the faculty and staff of the Cancer Center, thank you all. They also charged me with a absolutely ridiculous thing, which is to summarize 50 years of research at the Cancer Center in 5 to 10 minutes. That's absolutely impossible. So for our researchers and staff whose work I don't happen to mention, please forgive me ahead of time. But I'll try and hit some of the sort of the highlights and a few of the things that we've accomplished over the years. So in the 50 years since its establishment, the Cancer Center has made a number of contributions to cancer research and care in the islands, helping to steadily decrease the mortality and improve the health outcomes throughout the Pacific. One way of roughly measuring that is that in 1975, the mortality from cancer in the islands was about 170 deaths per 100,000. That number has now fallen to about 125. We still have a ways to go, but we've taken a good chunk out of the disease already as it occurs in the islands. So I'm going to highlight a few of the research programs and research findings that we've done over the 50 years that kind of helped with that. So Hawaii, as you've heard this morning many, many times, has one of the most diverse populations in the world. And we're especially suited because of that to doing research on why some ethnic populations are more susceptible to certain cancers than others, and how genetic susceptibility interacts with environmental factors in producing cancer risks. Because of this, many years ago, the University of Hawaii teamed up with the University of Southern California to establish the multi-ethnic cohort study. And this is the most ethnically diverse and long-standing longitudinal cohort study in the world, and it has gained national and international recognition among biomedical scientists. The study has followed 215,000 residents of Hawaii and Los Angeles since 1993. You heard one of those is Regent Moore, for the development of cancer and chronic diseases. So over that time, the multi-ethnic cohort has focused on the role of alcohol, coffee, diet quality, meat cooking methods, dietary supplements, body fat distribution, physical activity, reproductive factors, hormones, inflammation, diabetes, air pollution, gut microbiome, genetics, and other factors in determining a person's risk for cancer and other diseases. That's a pretty long list of different factors they've taken into account, and it's not complete. The UH Cancer Center is one of the very first cancer epidemiology programs to focus in depth on the role of diet in the causation of cancer, taking advantage of the great variety of ethnic foods here in the islands. Data from the multi-ethnic cohort has been used by countless researchers throughout the United States and the world, and its findings have been used nationally to formulate the general population guidelines for diet and nutrition. In fact, we have members of the Cancer Center who serve on the boards that determine those factors. Also in determining guidelines for cancer screening and cancer risk reduction. The findings from these world-renowned cancer studies are directly relevant to our state and our people. As you just heard, a small island state can have a huge impact. We see this all the time. Hawaii, for its size, has an amazing impact internationally. We were among the first to look at the role of obesity in cancer as well. So we recognized that early on. And importantly, our researchers also found that despite having a lower body mass index, Asian Americans have a predisposition to accumulating intra-abdominal fat, which is visceral fat, which puts them at a higher risk for certain types of cancers and metabolic diseases, including also diabetes. Indeed, visceral fat's an independent risk factor for breast cancer and for liver cancer, even after taking into account differences in overall obesity measured by BMI. So another area where we were amongst the first, the UH Cancer Center researchers were among the first to investigate the health effects of e-cigarettes, electronic cigarette use. Working in our Hawaii high schools here, they uncovered a growing public health problem very early on among Hawaii's youth. Research with the youth and adults has delineated the relatively high rate of e-cigarette use in Hawaii and the larger Pacific region. And they also discovered that there's a relationship to adolescent e-cigarette use to initiation of cigarette smoking. So e-cigarette use leads to cigarette smoking. And they've shown how e-cigarette use is related to respiratory diseases, including asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease in adolescence and adulthood. Another important thing about how the Cancer Center works is, again, partnerships. We work with our community. We're all a part, back and forth from the partnership of the community to what we're doing, and then we help them learn from the research that we've done. So we work really closely with our diverse communities to develop culturally appropriate programs to help to prevent cancer or to detect it early. For example, the UH Cancer Center has conducted research on how to increase screening rates for colorectal cancers among Native Hawaiian men with the goal of reducing the high rate of cancer deaths in this population. The dissemination of colorectal cancer screening information was done in a culturally appropriate way for the Native Hawaiian way, for the men-only sessions with male facilitators. This screening education activity has resulted in a positive outcome for the participants, with most of them getting screened and a small percentage of positive early cancer findings. Our cancer biology researchers work hard to uncover the foundational mechanisms that drive the development and progression of different cancers. By understanding the processes that cause cancer to form, to grow, to move from one site to another, to resist current therapies and current treatments, they look for new approaches to treating and diagnosing the diseases, and new drugs to attack the newly discovered mechanisms. Our faculty have made a lot of contributions in this area as well. They've contributed to our understanding of how cancers form from a mix of gene and environmental interactions. Some of these interactions cause damage to key genes in normal cells, and when the cell has challenges fixing those, it can lead to cancer. For example, BAP1 is a gene that protects cells from carcinogens present in the environment. A new genetic disease, the BAP1 cancer syndrome, caused by inherited mutations of the BAP1 gene, was discovered here and named by our researchers. This is an incredibly important thing. Affected individuals develop mesothelioma, but they also develop forms of melanoma, renal cell carcinoma, and other malignancies. Our researchers led an international team of physicians that designed specific diagnostic and clinical guidelines for these patients and their affected relatives, and the National Cancer Institute has opened 2 separate clinical trials now for those affected by BAP1 cancer syndrome, where they're screened and for early detection and treated if they develop cancer at no cost to the patients. Another amazing outcome from work done here. Other researchers work on genes that also can cause repair genes that are affected by carcinogens. For example, Fanconi anemia syndrome, those patients have genetic defects in their ability to repair their genes, and they're also at much greater risk for developing a number of cancers, including bladder cancer, and researchers here are trying to understand exactly the mechanisms for that. We also have done work on other types of genes that are involved in causing cancers. RAS-GRP1, it sounds like gibberish to you guys probably, but it's an important protein that can lead and drive the formation of certain types of skin cancers, and we learned a lot about that here. Another protein, HMGB1, plays a major role in how prolonged inflammation can lead to cancers like mesothelioma. We've also identified a protein called RSK that's an organizing engine. It's actually the thing that drives some cancer cells to move from one place to another. And we're finding ways to stop that gene from working, to stop cancer in its tracks. And this is being explored as a new therapeutic approach in treating brain tumors that are highly invasive and is also for advanced melanomas. This is an unusual one. We've also identified that one component of the increased death risk for Native Hawaiians relates to a greater incidence of sepsis. Now, sepsis is a life-threatening condition in which the body's immune system attacks the body itself and causes damage to its own tissues. And new discoveries about the mechanisms underlying sepsis are being had here at the Cancer Center, and our researchers are using that knowledge to now try and devise tools to impair sepsis as well. Because of our geographic isolation, Hawaii is home to a lot of species that are only found here. These are the endemic species in the islands. And they may have some rare natural compounds that could provide the key to new therapeutics to prevent and treat cancer. There's a long history of natural products having an amazing capability to treat cancers, and from islands like Rapa Nui, for example. So our natural products research program has examined plants, algae, and fungi from Hawaii and the Pacific Basin over the last several decades. This is something we're very well known for around the world. In the 1990s, one of our research teams identified a product called cryptophycin. And that particular compound has a lot of activity against cancer and has been explored in clinical trials. More recently, hercitinolide, which is a compound found in ironweed, that's consumed here as an herbal tea, has been shown in cellular assays to have significant activity against some cancers. So this shows how these natural products continue to be invaluable in leading to new potential therapeutics. The Cancer Center's dedication to preventing cancer and improving the lives of people diagnosed with the disease is evident as cancer incidence and mortality rates continue to drop. Although health outcomes are improving overall, cancer disparities, as you heard from Jill, this is an area of great interest here, remain an issue among many populations, especially amongst our minority populations. And our researchers work with these populations to learn about the cause of these disparities and to eliminate them. The Cancer Center's efforts toward minority-focused research and advancing cancer clinical trials have greatly contributed to the improving health outcomes for thousands of Hawaii's cancer patients. In 1994, the UH Cancer Center was first designated as a minority-based community clinical oncology program and is currently a National Cancer Institute Community Oncology Research Program for minority underserved communities. That's called the NCORP. And what that means is, by being a part of this program, we can bring in more support for community-based clinical trials here. So it's an incredibly important, again, another important way that we have effects on the health of our population. The NCORP has, and the prior NCI funding that we've had for these kinds of cooperative group research trials has brought practice-changing clinical trials to both children and adults in Hawaii. The participants in these trials represent our diverse race and ethnicities, And these studies have brought personalized oncology, precision medicine to Hawaii by the participation in the NC Match precision medicine trial. So this was a crucial trial that was just run over the last few years. It's a way of matching up specific treatments to specific gene signatures that the patients have. It's the kind of medicine we're hoping is the medicine of tomorrow for cancer patients. The Cancer Center relies on the members of the Hawaii Cancer Consortium, and you've just heard a lot about those guys, and the greater oncology community to provide its clinical research studies to the cancer patients. As you heard, the Cancer Consortium, Hawaii Cancer Consortium, is the Queens Health Systems, Hawaii Pacific Health, Kuakini Medical Center, the John A. Burns School of Medicine, and more recently, Adventist Health Castle and Hawaii Medical Service Association. In addition to our clinical trials network, our clinical trials network involves the majority of the medical and radiation oncology practices on Oahu too, and Tripler Army Medical Center. I don't think sometimes everyone recognizes just how many partnerships we have in bringing our research and our clinical trials to the population. These partnerships have made cutting-edge cancer treatment more accessible to the people of Hawaii and have helped to diversify representation in clinical trials across the nation. They are the key to our initiative to build an early phase clinical trial center as well. This is the future of the Cancer Center. So we've been talking about the past of research going forward. The early phase clinical trial center, which President Lasner spoke about, is the future of the Cancer Center's research and our ability to get clinical trials, these early phase clinical trials, to our patients. This was a dream that Senator Breen Harimoto had. He came and talked to Randy and myself in 2016, actually, so many years ago before we got this going. And he wanted to know how could he help patients like himself that have these really advanced cancers. And this was the way that he thought he could make a difference. And so we're really thankful to him and the legislature for bringing about the funding for the new early phase clinical trial center. So thank you all. So in conclusion, I want to thank our extraordinary staff and faculty, past and present, whose passion and dedication to reducing the burden of cancer in Hawaii are the very reason for the success of this center over the last 50 years. They are a reason for these seminal research discoveries, and they are educating and training the next generation of scientists and of cancer researchers and they're engaging with the community to improve health outcomes in Hawaii and the Pacific. As Ned Sharpless said, to end cancer as we know it. And we're thinking locally, globally, but acting locally. A small island can have a huge impact around the world. So on behalf of the Cancer Center faculty and staff, I want to thank you all for attending and helping us celebrate 50 years. And unfortunately, I'm sorry that we couldn't have all of our faculty and staff here in the room today because of COVID, but I do promise you we'll have one heck of a party once we get through COVID. So thank you all. Mahalo.
The future is bright at the University of Hawaii Cancer Center. Our laboratory staff work day and night running experiments that focus on improving our basic science understanding of how cancer develops and progresses, identifying new targets for therapies, and translating these findings into treatments of tomorrow.
We are the University of Hawaii Cancer Center.
Our clinical research assistants work alongside local oncologists to help Hawaii's cancer patients fully understand and enroll in clinical trials, helping develop the next generation of safe and effective cancer treatments.
I am the University of Hawaii Cancer Center.
Our population science staff conduct interviews and surveys of Hawaii's people to probe how ethnicity and factors such as cigarette smoking, electronic cigarette use, sun exposure, diet, and exercise intersect with cancer prevention and cancer outcomes.
We are the University of Hawaii Cancer Center.
And we're training the next generation of cancer researchers through the CREATE program, which includes seminars, workshops, career development sessions, and of course, hands-on research experience.
We are the University of Hawaii Cancer Center.
We've been working for 50 years to reduce the burden of cancer through research, education, patient care, and community outreach, with an emphasis on the unique ethnic, cultural, and environmental characteristics of Hawaii and the Pacific. And we're just getting started.
We are the University of Hawaii Cancer Center.
One more time, a nice round of applause for Dr. Joe Ramos, everybody. What I'd like to do is turn your attention to, for those of you that are online right now, and actually for those of you that are online, what we're going to do is we're going to take a picture of you guys. We're going to take a picture of the screen on our side so we have a picture of you. But I'd like to make some special introductions real quickly here. We, of course, talked about the late Lawrence H. Piet, who is the first director of the UH Cancer Center. With us, we are privileged to have also Brian Issel, Dr. Brian Issel. Go ahead and wave there. Once again, from 1988 to 1999. Good to see you. Carl Wilhelm Vogel, MD, doctor, from 1999 to 2008. Dr. Wilhelm Vogel, wave for us too. We have Dr. Michele Carbone. Go ahead and wave. Thank you so much for being on with us. We appreciate it as well. And a gentleman that I got to work with over here, and Dr. Randall Holcomb. Good to see you. Our previous directors who are on with us on Zoom, and we appreciate you being here today. Just want to give you actually, let's do that picture right now. Can we do that picture right now? Okay, so for those of you, our founding directors and our special guests and VIPs, if you could smile real big for us, because we are bringing a camera over right in front of the monitor. We're taking a picture. So everybody smile. Oh, I have to smile too. Nice round of applause, please, for our online participants. We thank you so much. Online participants, I have a special message for you coming up in just a little bit, so please don't go away. For those of you that are here in the room, coming up shortly, we'll ask you to take a group picture. Of course, you'll be socially distanced as well. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to wrap things up here from Kaka'ako, Oahu, please welcome once again, Wahine Hula Akala.
I, Ho'okauka. I. Hula. To you. Sweetheart. Aloha. From the bottom of my heart. Keep that smile on your lips, brush the tears from your eyes. One more aloha, then it's time for goodbye to you, sweetheart. I'll be with you here tonight, and I'm grateful that day when we all will meet again. Until then, sweetheart, I'll be with you dear tonight, and I'm grateful that day when we all will meet again. Until then,
A nice round of applause for our ladies. By the way, for those of you that are on Zoom, our ladies that you just saw dancing hula there, they were on the morning television news as the UH Cancer Center was the focal point of one of the mornings this past week. And they performed beautifully. And that was on the CBS and NBC affiliate here in Honolulu. Thank you, ladies. Real quickly here, a couple of introductions. We'll go back to online. We do want to say special aloha this morning from Honolulu, from the National Cancer Institute. On with us on Zoom, Dr. Henry Ciolino, who is the Director, Office of Cancer Centers. Also, Dr. Hasna Shafiq, who is with the Program Director, Office of Cancer Centers, and Dr. Warda McCaskill-Stevens, Chief Community Oncology and Prevention Trials Research Group, Division of Cancer Prevention. Nice round of applause for them. Also with us from the University of Hawaii at Manoa, Dr. Michael Bruno, Provost for the UH Manoa campus. A nice round of applause. Good to see you on, Dr. Bruno. And also, we want to say hello to one of our community partners, former President and CEO, Hawaii Pacific Health, and former member of the Hawaii Cancer Consortium, Chuck Stead. Chuck, how are you? Aloha to you. Now, before we conclude today's 50th anniversary celebration, we'd like to share some video with you. We'll share this with you right now. This is a pre-recorded video blessing performed by Kahu Aaron Mahi of the site for the future UH Cancer Center's Early Phase Clinical Research Center and Organoid Generation Facility to be built at the Cancer Center beginning in late 2021. The Early Phase Clinical Research Center and Organoid Generational Facility are being developed with grants from the state legislature and the National Institutes of Health. The Clinical Research Center will be first in the state and will allow cancer patients to participate in phase 1 clinical trials without having to travel, of course, across the ocean to the continental United States. The Organoid facility will provide an invaluable resource to study cancer in minority populations with significant cancer incidences and mortality. Mahalo to Kahu Aaron Mahi for the very meaningful blessing of the Early Phase Clinical Research Center and Organoid facility.
Today is July 23rd, 2021, and Kahu Aaron Mahi is here at the UH Cancer Center to conduct a blessing of the site of the future Early Phase Clinical Research Center, which will provide access to phase 1 clinical trials for cancer patients in Hawaii. It will be the first of its kind in the state and will bring cutting-edge clinical trials closer to home so patients don't have to face the physical, mental, and financial burdens of traveling to the continental U.S. for specialized treatments. Today, the day of a full moon, is a favorable day to conduct the blessing of the Early Phase Clinical Research Center based on the moon calendar. Mahina, the moon, plays a significant role in the Hawaiian culture, as their lives were guided by the phases of the moon. The Hawaiians created a moon calendar with different phases that contributed to their understanding of an ability to live in harmony with the natural world around them. As the moon waxes, they believe certain activities would flourish. As it wanes, it's time to rest. The first floor will be the lobby and reception area where we will welcome people into the facility. There will be examination and consultation rooms to see new patients and a small lab to process blood work. On the second floor, there will be another receiving area where patients can check in for treatment. This floor will mainly consist of infusion suites where clinical trial participants will receive state-of-the-art treatment. In addition, there will be a pharmacy, nurse station, education room, nutrition area, and meditation area. The designers of the facility, with input from the UH Cancer Center's Native Hawaiian Advisory Board and leadership, are incorporating elements representative of the Hawaiian culture throughout the building. Every patient of this facility will participate in cutting-edge clinical research study. Hawaii's unique racial and ethnic diversity in these studies impact cancer patients and research all over the world. The third floor will be used as lab and office space and will house an organoid facility. Researchers will construct 3D cell culture systems that mimic the characteristics of real organs, allowing them to better understand organ-level biology than our current resources allow. The center will not only affect cancer patients, but will create jobs for the people of Hawaii and help to diversify the state's economy. The development of a program in early phase cancer clinical trials, along with the recruitment of the faculty physicians, nurses, and pharmacists, is a joint venture of the UH Cancer Center, the University of Hawaii, and clinical partners in the Hawaii Cancer Consortium. Thanks to the support from the community and state legislature, particularly the late Senator Breen Harimoto, we have received the funds necessary to begin development. Construction of the early phase clinical research center will be completed by fall 2023.
I'd like to ask all of you to stand in the room. And for those that are on Zoom, if you wish to stand too, I'll leave it to your device. The words that I'd like to share with you in this Oli of celebration, Oli of thanksgiving, Oli of appreciation for all the words that have been said through all the speakers, has indeed in so many ways lend itself to the success of this occasion. The Oli will reverberate the words of one of our kupuna who has passed, Auntie Malia Craver. Many years served with our Liliuokalani Trust. And she speaks of the importance of first calling out to those that have gone before us, who many names we have mentioned, and the wonderful deeds that they have committed to this day. She also speaks of we who are here, the hulu, the many feathers of the Cape, which represent our people of Hawaii, and how in appreciation we send our thanks to them. And then our leadership in the final Pauku verse. In their dedication, in their moving forward and taking on the responsibility of seeing this work go forward. Ina kau a kau are the last words from now and forevermore. And then the voice given to this Oli is by Iokepa de Santos, a wonderful culturalist in Hawaii, who also was with the Trust and who I had the opportunity to work with at Partners in Development Foundation. He gave the air, or the melodic line to this Oli. Oh, nalani moi aku nehi Emily umaya ide amaule oe mai na babonani na watu punahe Eloha ke no na hulula Nali kaula no ke punine Amato he hali ane Ina kau You may be seated.
Mahalo. Mahalo. Finally, mahalo to all of you for your presence here at the UH Cancer Center's 50th anniversary celebration and its progress in research, education, patient care, and community outreach. We have created a UH Cancer Center 50th anniversary booklet, which includes highlights about the UH Cancer Center's history, significant research, discoveries, and accomplishment, directors' legacies, research, education, and training opportunities, impact of our community partnerships, and future research plans. It'll be available for viewing on the Cancer Center's website at uhcancercenter.org in the near future. If you're interested in receiving a hard copy, send an email message to media@cc.hawaii.edu. That concludes our program for today. For those of you that are here in the house, we'll ask you to come forward up in the front here, and we'll make kind of two lines and have you staggered and socially spaced, but still take a picture of your participation in today's event. And thank you very much for helping the UH Cancer Center observe its 50 years of research progress. We look forward to contributing to advancing progress of cancer research in the future at the UH Cancer Center. For those of you that want to view the video collage that was shown before today's program, don't leave the webinar. You can stay right where you are, and we'll rerun that coming up in just a couple of moments. Mahalo nui loa. Hang on for a second. For those of you on the webinar, because you're so far away, and I'll just kind of grab the camera and kind of bring you in close. Thank you for all the work that you do. From a cancer survivor, I'm still here. I'm still kicking. There's still a lot of work to be done, but you make it possible. Keep up the good work. Ma lama ko kina, which means take care of yourselves. And for those of you that are here, mask up, people. See you later. Aloha.